Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Prepper Bear. I am going to show you today how to change out the trigger springs and the hammer spring on a Taurus Model 85. This is a 38 special. First of all, let me show you. I just got back from the range. It's unloaded here. I haven't even cleaned it. I was going to do this spring change out again. About 2 days ago, I swapped the springs for the ones that I got from Wolff spring. I put the 9-pound hammer spring in, which some of you have probably seen online. 9-pound. And then I also put in the 6.5-pound trigger spring. And I did end up cutting one of the coils, the first coil off, in order to prevent the little stacking that occurred when I did the full function test. My experience today, and I fired around 50 rounds of hand-loaded 125 federal primed federal case ammunition, was that I had failure to fire on probably 1 in 3 in the last 25. The first 25 went through, no problems at all. I didn't have a problem with fire in double action. The double action is significantly reduced, and I'll show you that right now. It's significantly reduced in this with the 6.5 trigger and then the 9-pound hammer spring. Unfortunately, I ended up having to go to single action in order to fire those failure to fire shots, and it was really frustrating that I just could not. It looked like the hammer was hitting with enough force, but apparently not, and I had to go to single action in order to fire those rounds off. So I'm a little bit disappointed because I really do like the action of this. I really do like the very. It's not very light. It's just a whole lot lighter than the original pull of the gun. But I'm gonna switch it back because I really don't like the fact that it's like that there's failure to fire. So okay. I went and got some pins. I need some pins in order to do this extraction. Some needles, rather, and I'll show you that in a minute. Again, the gun is unloaded, and in order to do this, you need to have a screwdriver that fits the screws, and then also I use this CRV T15. It's one of these star pattern, and I'll show you how you use that, especially on the trigger spring. I'm not going to change out the trigger spring again, but I will show you how to remove it and put it back in. It's fairly easy. The hammer spring, in my mind, was a little bit harder. Also, some needle nose pliers in case that you need that. Okay. First thing you do, what I did was I locked the cylinder down just like that, so that it's in place. And I want to take off the hand grip screw. Just, don't monkey with it too much. I want to dork I'll put all my parts there. I did this the other day. It wasn't all that difficult. Actually, I ended up doing it a couple of times, so it's not too bad. Okay. I'm going to flip it this way so it's a little easier for me to see, but I can still illustrate it to you as to what's going on. Okay, this is the hammer spring. That's the one that I changed out. The trigger spring is under here, and I need to get to that. So in order to do this swap out, I want to take out this plate which covers here. There's 3 screws. This one has a little spring-loaded thing underneath it. You got to be real careful with that, taking that off. Let me take this screw off. That's just a simple screw. It's not very tight. Not very Didn't seem to be too tight. It's not screwed in there real tight. Get that. Drop that screw out, put that there. Take this screw similarly. Put that there. Now this one, as I mentioned, has the little spring-loaded thing on there, so you just sort of hold it down, make sure it doesn't pop anywhere. Now, let me get this out. There it goes. Now, you got to be real careful. See that thing in there? Don't lose that thing. There's a little spring underneath there. Just set it aside. That's the one that goes in that hole. Okay, the plate will just come right up. It's obviously dirty. It's been fired around 50 rounds today. Okay, so that goes like that. You can see all the different pieces. The one we're going to change out because it obviously didn't have enough power in order to fire in double action. There was failure to fire on 1 and 3 in the last 25. Started out great. It was like the spring had all kinds of pep, and then it after 25 rounds it started getting weaker and weaker, and then 1 and 3 was not firing. This was the trigger spring that I replaced. Also, this is the 6.5. The original one is right here. It also is coated red. I'm going to leave this one in here. This is the original one. I'm going to leave that. It definitely seems to have more tension. This one definitely has more tension. Hopefully I can get this damn spring without too much problem. Okay, the way you do this, there's a little hole in this this rod that goes down from the back of the trigger. And when you pull the trigger back, and you just pull it back very slowly, you'll see the hole appear. It's right there. See it? You may be able to see it. It's right there. Now, what they said was to stick a pin. I've got a pin with a little head on it. Stick a pin in there and then release the tension on the hammer again. Okay? Now the hammer's going to go all the way forward, and now you have a tensioned hammer spring there on this bar. And take a look at this bar, because this little back thing has got to face the back when you put it back in there. And there's a little plate that sits back here, and that's what holds that in. When you put it in, it's actually the reverse of what I just did, and then you're just going to get tension, and then you're going to pull the pin. The tricky part is to get the plate on there and then get this dang pin back in, especially with a higher powered spring. We'll see how I can do that. But anyway, that's how you get that one out. So I'm going to do them one at a time so the whole damn thing doesn't pop apart. Okay? So let me go ahead and release the tension on this pin and get this spring off of here. So hopefully, I'll use my needle nose. The little ball came off the end. Okay, here it goes. Hopefully that will pull off. There it goes. Okay, so I got the pin off. You see the plate came off. Now I didn't do anything. I didn't cut any coils on this this hammer spring. I just left it as it was. So the old one, this one that's painted red, is going to go back on here. And let's see if I can get this thing on here without bending the whole thing. So what I have to do, and the trick of this hopefully will be to squish this down enough with the plate. So I want to put that plate on there and then get the pin through there. Now that will be a trick, and hopefully it won't go shooting off into the... Got it. Okay, I pushed it down. Boy, that's tough on the fingers, but you see what I did. Okay, I compressed the spring. Now it's being held in there again. The plate can only go on one way because it's a slot. That's what you need to do. Okay, so now what I need to do is to put this back, and since I put the pin in backwards, I'm going to have to lift the revolver up. But The plate itself sits in this little slot. It's not a real problem. Then I can just hold this and then pull this, the hammer back to get some tension on the plate. There it goes. Oh, got it. It fits into that little space. Okay, now I'm going to pull this trigger back, and you see how that now is tensioned on there. See, it's tensioned right there. Now I'm going to try to pull it back just a little bit more and then pull the pin out. It dropped out. Now release the thing. Okay, now I got it. See? So that was the hammer trigger, and it went into the right space. It needs the little head of the ball of this little bar needs to be there. This little thing, this little plate needs to be tucked inside where it sits. Now the red spring's in place, okay? So hopefully that will give a little more pep on. I can feel it already. I mean, it's a lot tougher than the other one was. This was the other spring, this other hammer spring. The 9-pound one, maybe an 11-pound one would be better. I don't know, but this one was too weak, and there was 1 in 3 failure to fires. Okay, so that's that spring. That's replaced there. Now the other one is actually fairly easy to do, and I've seen some other folks complaining about how difficult that one is, but this one is actually not that bad. What I do is I take this little CRV tool, and if you can stick it, there's a hole back here where it goes. You can sort of can put that in there. This actually there's a pin that's holding it on this side. So in order to get the trigger spring out, you just take this tool, stick it in the back here, I found, and it's actually coming out right now. So I could press it just a little bit and then just lift it out. And there it is, see? It just came right out. And it fits in one way. Like I said, I have the 6.5 pound trigger spring in there. I ended up having to cut one coil off of the thing because, like I said, when I first put it in, it stacked up. I mean, when I say stacked up, the spring went to full compression and it wouldn't go any further, and the trigger wouldn't pull back any further, and the hammer only went back about 95%. It didn't go all the way back. Okay, so I ended up having to. I used a pair of clippers, not these, just to clip one little coil off. And then I tried it, and it still had an issue. And then I went just like another half a coil, and then it worked. Okay, this similarly goes through here. This one does have a little hole to do the same little trick that I said before, where you could potentially put a needle through there to hold the compression. But I found out you don't really need to do that if you use this little tool thing. So let me go ahead and do this. Again, I'm not going to put my original spring back in there. So I've got the spring. I put it on this little bar. It goes right into a little hole, sort of a ball joint thing right under there. So I know it's hard to see. You can't see. You can't really see it. And then you want to take this. Luckily, this is sort of magnetized, so it's magnetic. There's one way that actually has a shallow hole in it. That's the side where the spring rests, the trigger spring rests, and that's what you got to get into that hole. So let me go ahead and I know my fingers are going to be in the way. So I got that. I'm lifting it up. Oh, there it goes. I'm going to get it into that hole. It's in there now. You see that? Now the ball's up in the joint underneath the trigger down here, and you see how I'm controlling it like this with the tool, and I'm able to compress it just enough to go into the hole and push with my other finger, and it's in there. See? It went in there. It's that simple. The trigger spring I found is a lot easier than this one. This is a little bit more tougher because it's more powerful. So now I've got that back in there. It looks like everything's functioning. I will put the plate back on there and give it a full function test to see how it is and see if it's drawing back. Okay, so let me, everything looks like it's down. The trigger's pushed down. This is seated correctly. No problems there. Push that down. Put the plate back on. Okay, the last screw again has that little push button spring loaded thing. Then that thing goes into this into this hole and it holds, it makes the cylinder work correctly. So put that in there. Screw that in. Just tight, not too tight, just tight enough. Okay, just one more time right there. Okay, good. It seems to be. It's definitely harder to pull back now compared to the old spring that was in there. The 9-pound spring. This is much more. This red one that came from the factory must be 12 or so, something like that. Okay, so I'm going to do a double action dry fire. Yep, I mean, it works. Okay, let me do a full function and cylinder lockup. So pull the trigger back all the way, hold the trigger down. Okay, seems to lock up. Try it again. Cylinder's locking up. Try it in single action. Seems to be working in single action. I can see the compression in single action. You see it right there? That is significantly more. Okay. Yeah, double action seems to work. Okay, seems to be working good. It's totally empty. Let's do one more double check. I think we're good to go on this, and hopefully I won't be messing around with it anymore. I just don't know why. I mean, it just didn't work. The lighter spring did, and they gave you another spring in the kit. They gave you a 9-pound trigger spring, but I'm going to see whether this one works. If this one doesn't see, if I have any failure to fire with 6.5 trigger spring, then I will swap it out. As you saw, it's fairly easy to swap out. So let me go ahead and put the handle back on. There's a little indentation where that goes. Got that. Put this on. Put the screw back in. Okay, got that. Looks pretty good. Okay, got it. Everything seems to be functioning correctly. It locks back. Okay, we got it. So we got the, we did a trigger, I guess a respring of the Taurus Ultralite in 38 Special. Now I have the factory hammer spring and then a reduced power trigger spring. So next time I go to the range, I'm gonna get that a whirl, see how it works. Seems to be okay. Find out whether it works or not. And if I have any failure to fire, I'll let you know. But hopefully that helped you. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment on my YouTube channel. And this is Prepper Bear, and I appreciate you watching this.